Imagine for a second that I opened this video by telling you that right now, somewhere on this earth, there exists a bad Sonic game. I'd be fucking lying. It's not really a secret that nowadays Sonic Team have become kind of infamous for a huge number of reasons, all of which though include insanely well made and high quality games. And when appreciating any of these games, it's borderline insulting to a team as talented, skilled and competent as Sonic Team not to look back and give the huge amounts of warranted credit to the game that started it all, Sonic Adventure 2. And in doing so, proving that Sonic Adventure 2 fans are really intelligent, sane people who are completely normal and have really good taste in games, because the only people that ever deny video games can be art are the only people who have never played Sonic Adventure 2. Because if we're talking the expression of human creative skill and imagination, then look no further than a little game you might have heard of. It's called Sonic Adventure 2. On December 23rd, 1999, the fucking stars and planets aligned and the world's greatest and most talented minds were inspired to join forces to create nothing less than a masterpiece. And although I'm forced to admit that Sonic Adventure 1 is owed a lot of the credit for aiming and loading the series in the direction of Sonic Adventure 2, however, with quality like this already established,
oh yeah! This is happening!
somehow actually going up from here is an incredible feat in itself, let's be honest. Plato, Shakespeare, Sonic Adventure 2. The story follows Sonic Adventure 2's deep, well-written characters like Eggman as he sets out to acquire the power of the Chaos Emeralds and dominate the world. And you have no idea how shortened that is, because in reality the game injects government conspiracies, hard sci-fi, romance and alchemy into an otherwise already serious, complex and well thought out plot. Which, for a series that gained popularity because of a fun cartoon hedgehog, was a really good idea, and I for one completely agree and support this decision because it's really rad and it doesn't lose any of the charm or simplicity that made all of this so successful in the first place. And that absolutely goes for the story's execution as well, because their genius is far from stopping there, with animation and visuals somehow brilliant enough not only to sufficiently portray the story but to warrant the entire game's popularity among some of the internet's best artists. It's so smooth and eerily realistic that although motion capturing was hardly ever used during this era, I honestly have my doubts. And it's especially impressive when you consider the huge number of unique, well-written, extremely likeable and not annoying personalities they had to cover in the process. Because unlike previous Sonic games, throughout this one the gameplay is segmented between them and broken up into different styles in order to stop you from becoming too used to one playstyle whilst in no way ruining any form of pacing. These sections include Sonic, Shadow, Tails, Eggman, Knuckles and Rouge, all of which are equally as fun and work perfectly. The Knuckles stages especially stand out as being fine and having no issues whatsoever. They drop you into a level armed with an emerald shard locator and task you with finding 3 which are in random positions each time the level is loaded, which is a great feature because randomly generated positioning always, without exception, results in good level design. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you. My favourite of which is the Aquatic Mines level, wherein you can hear the immersive ambient dripping of water to signal that it's located in an aquatic mine. By the way, that doesn't stop. Ever. But then there's the Tails sections that actually do end up disappointing slightly in that the quality still has not dropped. The Tails levels take place in the more enclosed, tighter stages of the game, which is convenient because to navigate them the game gives you a mech. A mech that's main gimmick is this engaging and challenging lock-on guided missile system with a similar cool, soothing sound that I will never get tired of hearing. Aside from that though, the real draw to them is the character Tails himself and his impassioned, moving, Oscar-winning tier voice acting and dialogue.
Tornado transformation!
In fact, that goes for all of the dialogue, because I refuse to believe that these actors weren't actually put into these situations in order to extract these surreal, passionate performances.
Is everyone alright? We should be landing soon.
The hatch doors are open.
Don't sweat it, Knuckles. The only thing in the cargo bay are those
What do you
Master
mean,
Emeralds.
don't sweat it?
Right?
Land the
Knock
shuttle
it
and
off,
let me
Knuckles.
out.
We're gonna crash this thing.
The last of which are the Sonic stages, because the other half of the characters just mirror the first half, no doubt because of the game's well thought out commentary on the duality of good and evil. Sonic plays just like he always did, by going really fast while sacrificing none of the control, resulting in a game that's as popular as it should be. What can be said about the gameplay in general though is you will not find smoother, tighter, more accurate controls in any other Sonic game. Sonic also gets a majority of the boss fights, which is really good not only because they're really well designed and not even that they take place in and wide open spaces that perfectly utilize Sonic's speed, but solely because of his really cool persona that's hugely likable and relatable, allowing the player to easily slide themselves into his shoes during particularly intense exchanges between now famous Sonic bosses. Because ultimately, this is the single biggest feature that makes the entire game, because everything else reflects his character, from the sound design to the wording of the interface, and especially the music. Because it's the music that perfectly matches the graphics in every single way and helps to highlight just how good everything looks, although my favourite aspect above all else is the fact that you can listen to it in public and everyone will really like you. It's so good that combined with everything else, initially during my first playthrough I was freaking out at all the new material I now had for my second channel's RIP Linkin Park AMVs, but as I soon found out, the cutscenes beat me to it, being as higher quality. And it deserves it, because it gets to a point where I almost don't even care about what magic is happening back there, because it's all going on in the audio and the game knows it, because the volume levels are fine-tuned to show just that.
I hate to ask, but could you help them?
But in the end, all of this only ever ends up serving one purpose, and that's to detract from the sheer quality of everything else. It really is something that also, to my joy, still does not end there. Because Sonic Team were among the few smart enough to know that every good game ever made has only one thing in common, and that's gameplay elements stretched out enough to make a 40-hour long game. Meaning that consumers who are really smart with their money get a longer game for less, because they can hold off on buying the Super Mario Sunshine or Metal Gear Solid 2 of the time, for example, which, let's agree, is a really fucking good idea as well. This resulted in a lot of much needed in-game content that drastically extends your replayability and ultimately your enjoyment because of the money you save not buying the Silent Hill 2 or Jak and Daxter of the time. These extras included taking care of whatever a chow is, battling it out with a friend over who likes Sonic Adventure 2 the most, and kart racing, and if you know anything about me, I have no doubts it's exactly how much I love kart racing, and don't even get me started on the insane opportunity to replay every single level all over again for a faster time and higher score. That's like triple the game right there. You're kind of a fucking idiot to play anything else, honestly. Above all though, I have to push this area in the Chow Garden specifically because it looks a lot like Spyro's art style, but better because Sonic Adventure 2 is a million times more fun than Spyro, and I for one would much rather be playing this any day. In undertaking the impossible task of summarising Sonic Adventure 2, there's only one thing I can say for certain. Sonic Adventure 2 fans should feel really good about themselves for liking such a well-made interactive emotional experience. And in having looked at the entire game for the first time, it's finally really obvious and clearer than ever to me why exactly it is that there's so many, and it's not like I even needed to. The cultural impact Sonic Adventure 2 has had is made more than clear by both the sheer amount of fans and quality of fan-generated content the game has become so famous for over the years. But don't get me wrong, I'm certain that throughout this video I've done nothing but echo your reasons for this, meaning that really I've done nothing but either reinforce them or bore you. I'm leaning heavily on the both option. And in the end it doesn't really matter anyway, because who the fuck am I to tell you what you're allowed to like, even in the event that you like something that is objectively terrible, which isn't the case here, thank God, because I'd have a hard time not doing that. Obviously, you're an idiot if you think it's not entirely up to you to really look at something and use your intelligence to judge whether or not it's good enough to deserve your respect. I'm telling you that because there's a high chance that you're subscribed to me.
I didn't expect the inside of the mines to be like this. This is gonna be tougher than I thought.